Hey, Critical Analysis, back with you now for your video for your Chapter 1 assignment. So Chapter 1 started in week 1 with vocabulary video. So just as a reminder, under week 2, under the watch, which is hopefully you've already been there. You've already hopefully, maybe, or you're going to get there, the Chapter 2 lecture. I also re-uploaded the Chapter 1 lecture video that I had back in week 1 so that if you didn't get a chance to watch it then, or maybe you just need to refresh your memory because this is the week where you're doing most of Chapter 1 work, it's right there for you, as well as the Chapter 1 video is there as well. All right, so those were the other video locations. So this video is only going to focus on your discussion forum for this week and your Chapter 1 assignments. I will do a separate video for your Chapter 2 assignments, so no video is getting too lengthy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the Submit folder. And again, this lines up exactly with your syllabus. If you remember, or if you have it in front of you, your syllabus has on one side, like everything you're going to watch and read and review and fill in. And so I've aligned my folders that same exact way. So right now, for this video, you are going to be focusing on our discussion post and then our 2 Chapter 1 assignments, the text and skill sheet, or the TSP sheet, and your vocabulary quiz. I will come back with a separate video for your Chapter 2. Again, so it's not terribly long for every video. All right, so now your week 2 discussion board. Your week 2 original post is due by Wednesday, June 15th, okay? So you need to post in the discussion forum by Wednesday, June 15th in order to be counted as present for week 2. If you post after that date, you will get partial attendance. So you'll still get credit for attending. It'll just be half attendance. It'll be 50% attendance. Also keep in mind that between now and the end of the session, you need to be interacting with 10 classmates. Some of you have already done so in your week 1 discussion board. You are already in there introducing and interacting and asking questions and communicating with one another that way. So keep in mind that's something that you don't have to stop at 10 by any means. But if you haven't started that, keep in mind that's what you're doing in the discussion board. Something as if we were sitting in a classroom together so that we are creating that classroom feel. Okay, so week 2 discussion by Wednesday, June 15th for week 2 full attendance points. In this forum, post one area that you think is a strength while attending college, and one area that you need to work on, and then a question you have about either Stark State specifically or college in general. So for instance, maybe you feel like you have good time management or motivation, dedication, computer skills, study skills, note-taking skills, anything like that, that it's going to be beneficial to you as a student. One area that you need to improve on, maybe you procrastinate, or maybe you kind of run out of motivation halfway through a semester, or maybe you just have a lot going on and so you need to manage your time better, whatever that might be. And then a question that you have about Stark State. Maybe you want to know about a resource or classes or anything like that, or college in general. And then that question, I might jump in and answer it or give you a link to find out where you can get more info. Or if you see a classmate ask a question that you know the answer to, feel free to jump in and interact and answer that question. So as a reminder, your discussion board, you click on the link, week 2 discussion board. It's going to take you into the actual discussion board. When you're ready to post it, you'll click create thread. You'll see the prompt pop up again so you don't have to juggle back and forth. Put in your subject, week 2, and then put your response right there and then hit submit. Okay, so that is your discussion board for week 2. That is due Wednesday, June 15th. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about your 2 Chapter 1 assignments under the To Submit folder. So you have the text and skill sheet. I have them separate. Here's where you download the actual document. So I'm going to click right here. It's going to download into a Word document down here in the corner. And it's going to open up into a Word document. Click that little yellow Enable Editing. I do have students who don't see that and then they can't type at all. So make sure you click that. I'm not sure if I can try to make that appear again. Because I do have students get stuck on that little button. So make sure, there we go, Enable Editing, if that pops up for you. Make sure you click it or else you're not going to be able to type in there. Okay, so here is your Chapter 1 text and skill sheet. Now, because it's Chapter 1, all of these questions are going to be based on, you got it, chapter 1 or even before chapter 1. So it's kind of getting you acclimated to the chapter 1 concept of active reading, making sure that we are spending time with our textbook, with our information. So if you would like, while you have that going, you can go to your read folder and click on our textbook and have it up and going in a separate tab. Now, if I had you face to face, this is something that I would go through with you and we would fill this out together. However, because we're online, a lot of that kind of falls on you, unfortunately, but I'm going to help guide you as much as possible. So here I have my textbook up and going, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up my text and skill sheet. For right now, I'm just going to minimize it so I can kind of see a little bit of both. So my directions in part 1 say preview the textbook to get an overview of its scope and sequence. Think about how the chapter fits into the topic, glance at the chapters to get a sense of the organizational pattern, then answer each question. So the first several questions are basically about looking at these table of contents. So I'm going to go, the brief contents is just what it sounds like. It's going to tell me not a lot of information other than the chapter numbers and their title. I'm going to go to the detailed contents because this is going to give me way more information and it's going to help me more fully understand and complete this sheet. So questions such as, how many chapters are in this text? Well, hopefully you even just saw that real quickly in the brief table of contents here. 10 chapters. So that answers that question. And then the rest, the detailed contents, are going to be helpful. What seems to be the purpose of the reader's tip boxes? So if I click in here, I'm going to go through and I'm going to look and see, what do you mean the reader's tip? Oh, right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on reader's tip and see what that takes me. And here it is. Here's a reader's tip. I'm also going to go back into detailed contents and I'm going to scroll down to another chapter. So I'm going to just go down here. I'm just going to go to maybe chapter 3 even and find another reader's tip. So you can see every chapter has a reader's tip. So click on a couple of them, get a feel for what they are. And then what do you think the purpose of those are? Question 3, do they have specific exercises to help build vocabulary? Where are they located? So let me get back into my detailed contents. So if I go down and I'm looking for vocabulary, well, as I scroll, I should pick up on, hold on, vocabulary booster. Okay, that looks interesting. Let me see if chapter 2 has something like that. Vocabulary booster. All right. So hopefully maybe you're starting to see that our textbook does have something for vocabulary called vocabulary booster. And there's a pattern. It's toward the end of each chapter. So you're welcome to click into one of those and get a feel for, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's a bunch of vocabulary to try to boost vocabulary in different content areas. Question 4, what chapter provides information about determining main ideas? Just go ahead and click on the brief table of contents and you'll be able to see that. What is the purpose of the brain booster feature in each of the blue boxes? So again, I'm going to go to my detailed table of contents. And I'm going to click on the brain booster, and there's brain boosters throughout all of the chapters. So just kind of look and think, what is this? What is this brain booster? And again, you don't have to click on just one of them. You can scroll down. Here's another one, brain booster. Brain booster. See if you can find a pattern on what a brain booster is and the purpose of it. Click into it. Get to know a little bit about it. Where do reading selections appear in our chapters? Give you a clue. I'll just tell you. Just look toward the end of your chapters. And then how does knowing about all these features help you as a reader? How does knowing how to navigate your textbook, how to use the different subsections, how does that help you as a reader? And I'll clue you in as well. It has a lot to do with our content title of chapter 1, active reading. So think about that. All right, now part 2 really gets into chapter 1. It says, after reading these pages, 22 to 25, what does the author suggest doing before, during, and after a test? Okay, so I've already lectured over chapter 1. So if you need to go back and revisit that lecture, you are welcome to. Or if you feel like, I kind of remember, go ahead and go to that section right here in table of contents, page 22. And I'm going to scroll through. And here we go. Look at this. Before a test, during the test, after the test. So right there in that section, it's going to guide you right through. So before, during, after. And then finally, part 3 is just a basically fill in the blank. It says, in this chapter, we read about the major types of comprehension questions. Identify those types below. Over here on the table of contents, look right here, major types of comprehension questions. Click on it. Here we go. Look, main idea questions, detail questions, inference questions. Okay, so you can kind of scroll right through there, and essentially you're just filling in the blank there. All right, so when you have your chapter 1 text and skill sheet done, go ahead and make sure you save it somewhere. Save as. I'm just gonna hit desktop. I'm just gonna save it under that file for right now. Click save. Okay, now I'm gonna get back into my Blackboard. I'm gonna get back into week 2 under to submit. Here's my Dropbox. So it has like a little bit different icon to it. It has the ruler and the pencil. Here's my Dropbox. This is where I'm going to actually turn it in. Please submit it right here. I often have students who want to send it to me through email and through message, and I'm not going to like turn that down or anything. I'm still going to accept it, but it's just a lot easier for me as an instructor when I have, different classes going on, if everything's in its proper Dropbox. So it's just easier for me to grade and get through. All right, so I'm going to click in there, and because this is an actual file, I'm going to click Browse Files. I'm going to find it. I just happen to save it on my desktop. I'm going to click on it, hit Open, and then hit Submit. I'm a teacher. It's not going to let me do it, but that's the process you would go through. And that is due by Sunday, June 19th. Okay, so you have until Sunday to complete that Chapter 1 text and skill sheet. All right, now the other Chapter 1 assignment, other than you've already completed your discussion board, you've completed your Chapter 1 text and skill sheet, now we're going to do our vocabulary quiz. So here's the actual quiz right here. So same thing, you'll click on it. It's going to download into the corner down there. You're going to pull it up. Here it is. So I'm going to walk you through the directions. Now, hopefully you still have your file or your printed copy of your Chapter 1 study guide from week 1. I also copied over the week 1 vocabulary video, so you can revisit that if you need to freshen your memory on those words. So here is your vocabulary quiz. Part A, this is usually the trickiest part. It says, read each sentence and decide whether the bold terms, so all of your vocabulary terms in here in this section are bold, are they being used correctly or not? So if they're being used correctly, so let's just do number 1. No, let's do number 2 together. The camaraderie was evident when they could not stop fighting among themselves. So our key word here is camaraderie. If I recall from Chapter 1, or you recall from Chapter 1, camaraderie means like your group, your friendship, your strength, okay, was evident when they could not stop fighting. Well, if you're comrades with someone, if you have a camaraderie, you have a positive relationship. So they are not using this word correctly. So on this line, I'm going to type out a new sentence that uses the word camaraderie correctly. And I can just use kind of this sentence if I want to and just maybe fudge some things. The camaraderie was evident when they all agreed upon the idea and worked together for the common goal. I don't know, something like that. You do not have to come up with replacements for any of these bold words. Keep the bold word. Now, if you want to change the word from enlisted to enlist or incentives to incentivizing, that's fine, but do not come up with a substitution. Also, the word not is not going to fix your sentence, okay? The camaraderie was not evident when they could not stop. Nope, all that tells me is that you know how to write the word not in a sentence. So you need to do something a little bit different, okay? Fix the sentence. If the sentence is okay the way it is, just write the word correct on the line. Don't leave it blank, because I won't know that you left it blank because you thought it was correct or because you skipped it. So make sure you write the word correct on the line. Okay? If you have questions on that part, please reach out. Part 2 hopefully is pretty straightforward. It's just short answer. Make sure that you answer the question. What does it mean to make a modification? Give an example. So the first one is always started off for you, but it's not answered. So please don't skip number 1. So just make sure that you answer all those questions. And then on this one, part C is fill in the blank. You will not use all of those. So make sure that you go through and you kind of either, if you print this out, actually scratch them off or mentally scratch them off and then fill in the blank. If you have questions on anything from Chapter 1 quiz or the text and skill sheet, please let me know. And then go through the same process. Save this onto your desktop or wherever it is that you're saving that. Click into the Dropbox. It's always going to say Dropbox and have that different icon. Click in there, browse your files, find it, and submit it. That is also due Sunday, June 19th. Remember, due dates are up here as well as in your course calendar if you need to reference that. All right, my next video will be back with your Chapter 2 specific assignments. See you then.